So, like Ole said, my name is Elke. I am from the very western part of Austria. We live right at the border to Switzerland and really close to Germany at the Lake Constance. On three sides we have high mountains, and this is the Rhine. Yes, and I'm going to talk about the Rhine Valley where we are living in. It's on both sides of the Rhine. This side is Switzerland, this side is Austria. And Oli asked me to talk about urbanism. At the beginning I was quite, yes, I thought he's kidding me. But in the end I realized, okay, what we have in Vorarlberg is somehow a mixture between a rural area and an urban area, or actually we're both. We are rural and we are an urban, so I called that whole thing urbanism. The whole Rhine Valley, it's somehow a Landstadt, it's both. We have 27 cities, actually more villages than cities. On the one side, 12 on the other. The whole area has about 15,000 inhabitants. We are very multicultural with 25% are migrants. The first came back in the 70s because we have a lot of industry. The most famous thing we produce in Vorarlberg, or actually in the Rhine Valley, is Red Bull. So in future, if you drink Red Bull or see a can, yes, we fill it up in Vorarlberg, and we even produce the whole. We produce that really, yeah, okay. We produce it and we fill it up in the Rhine Valley for actually more or less the whole world. So here, in case you're just wondering, Germany, Stuttgart, Zurich, what else? Munich, Vienna, and this is Vorarlberg, and this blue thing here is the Lake of Constance, just so that you get an idea where what we are talking about. These 39 cities just grew together to a whole suburban area. But every single city or village has his own big band, brass big band, has his own, at least one kindergarten, at least one school, at least several supermarkets, church, and most of them have a cycling without age chapter. So that's the funny, or actually the interesting thing is, we have a 15-minute city, and that's what actually all the big city planners are talking about. I didn't realize that until Oli asked me to talk about it, and that's actually quite cool because we have everything we need within a 15-minute, 10 to 15-minute bike ride at least, yes. So we have medical care, we have schools, we have shops, workplaces, leisure activities. We have everything you need within short distances. And I think that's really important for every huge or bigger city because, yeah, we need to decentralize cities and get closer together in the small areas to short the distances. The very good question is, how comfortable are we in public space? Does everybody feel comfortable? Is it safe to get from A to B? Is it possible to feel comfortable for an 80-year-old or an 88-year-old? Do we have everything? How big are the barriers? What I realized in Copenhagen is that there are still many stairways, many steps everywhere. It's almost impossible to get along with a rollator or a wheelchair. We gotta think city new. Und was habe ich noch? Oh. Yeah, is it safe for children? Do you feel, I always ask myself, do I feel comfortable when my children go to school by bike, and they did that every day and they're still doing it every day? They started as 4-year-old kids in the kindergarten, and where I am living, that's possible. But I think it's unique, almost worldwide. It's a real, yes. I wouldn't let my children walk or cycle to school at every place in this country, or even also in Austria, it's hard. So what we need everywhere worldwide, less cars and more bikes. No? In September, Ole and Pernille were in Austria, and here are some slides out of Ole's presentation. The question was, would your grandmother thrive? It's a cycling without age theory of change in a few slides. No, maybe not. We already heard that we're all getting older, and that the whole society is getting older and older. We heard a lot about aging. We know that we need to change our cities and everything. That's the principles of cycling without age. Well, I guess you all know them. And Ole sent me, or we had also this vision of principles for better cities. And we all need to slow down because it makes us healthier. We just heard about nature impact and everything, stress less. We already heard about these 15-minute cities. Slow down, everybody. 15-minute cities, we already talked about it. What else? Relationships. We already talked about a lot of relationship issues today. And, no? Equity. We gotta reclaim the cities. We gotta... Fairness, it's so important for us to be fair and to feel equal. Everybody, there is nobody who can do nothing. Everybody has his skills and his possibilities to do a positive impact in the world. It's so important to just get along together and yeah, get a better place. Get this world to be a better place. So that's it so far.
Thank you so much, Elke. And now, as we say in Denmark, we have Karen, who is the raisin at the end of the sausage, which means, which is actually, it's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing.
I've never been called that before, but I'll take it.
Yeah, take it away, Karen.
Yes, I've got the hard gig to keep you entertained for the last bit, so I won't keep you too long. But while we're getting that up, I thought, well, well-being in nature, I have to just prelude to say that coming from Australia, there's a few of us good Aussies here. It's such a long, long way to get here, so you've got to make the most of it. I was fortunate enough to jump on a bike as part of a bike group from Vienna. We went to Bratislava and we went down to Budapest. And I can advocate for you how good it is to be in nature. There's nothing like exploring a city by bike. So hopefully I'm well versed to tell you this. Okay, so just to start off, I'm just going to go through a little bit about understanding our why, the importance of two programs that we run. One of them is called Wellbeing in Nature. The other one is Rail Trail Rides. And then just a few takeaway suggestions. Because one of the things that I've noticed already and knew beforehand in meeting Natalie and places like that previously is that this is universal. The joy that we give to everybody, we can all share these same stories. I'm sure if somebody else was up here, they'd be able to share some beautiful stories as well. We've all got the same challenges. We've all got the same joy that we get out of this. But it's about getting those little snippets, those little bits of gold from each other, which I think is important. One thing that we do here in Australia is that we always go back to what our strategic plan is. What is our overall thing? What are we trying to achieve? So this is about understanding our why. Why do we do what we do? It was mentioned earlier about not just taking a trishaw in and thinking that's what the community needs. It's not about that. It's about understanding what does that community need and how can we address it. So we've gone through a lot of this and about working out who the stakeholders are and what do we want to get. So I'm going to talk particularly about the outcomes. So we've got an outcome objective here, and this is about the environment. Boost to energy, health and well-being. So I'm just going to focus on that for now. So we've got two particular programs that I'm going to talk about, this wellbeing in nature and also the rail trail rides. We've already talked a little bit about this already, so I won't steal, you've stolen all the thunder, about we know the benefits of all nature and being outdoors, the wind in your hair, etc., so I won't go on about that. But basically this program that we have in Perth was started off serendipitously. It was amazing because we actually have some health clinicians who are some OT people as well as some other allied health clinicians. They deal in the mental health care sector. I'm sure that if I talk to you about mental health care, it is a worldwide thing. It's a worldwide problem and I know it's escalating. We have had a big push in Australia for our aged care to stay in their own homes for longer. So the government is helping a lot of people to stay in their homes a lot longer by providing support services. They might provide somebody there to take them out to get their groceries or whatever. These clinicians that work outside of a hospital, so through our Department of Health, they have teamed up together and they've identified some at-risk people, elderly people that live in their own homes. So we're talking about 80, 90-year-olds perhaps, that will be working from living at home and they are going to be a lot more vulnerable. They've not got the social activities that they have in an in-care place as well. So that is the target group. Now this group had started a walking group near where one of our rides are, along the beach in Fremantle. So because we're there every week, every Monday, it started to become a bit of a thing. Now, a lot of these people with depression, anxiety, stress, have got some other perhaps comorbid health conditions as well. They weren't able to walk the whole distance. So there comes along our trishaw. Hey, we'll give you a ride back half of the way, so you're still doing your exercise, but coming back halfway. Now this program, and Tim's one of our pilots out there for the program. This program has been so well implemented. It's been gone up for an award with our Department of Health, which has been fantastic. So now I've been asked to go and speak at other clinicians' places as well, so other mental health care places, to talk about the program. They've done a bit of a study on this as well, about the impact that it's had on their, they call them consumers. We don't have a lot of photographs because we're not allowed to photograph a lot of them. But this is a particular one. And some of the quotes that we've had come back have been exactly what we wanted to achieve in our strategy there. So this is exactly this. We're talking about nature connection, sensory stimulation. It's all of these things that we need to achieve here. So this is one of the group with another guy called Tim, my right-hand man, and this is one of the groups as our wellbeing in nature. We've touched on it a lot today, and it's about the social prescribing. We actually have been able to do it organically, if that makes sense. But this social prescribing, I'm going to point out to you this beautiful gentleman, Jerry. Jerry is one of my favourites. 82-year-old, he is the most active volunteer with us at 82. He rides his push bike 120 k's every week. Now, Jerry came to us because he rode past on his bike. 4 years he'd been widowed. He was getting depressed. He was staying at home all the time. He took the courage to come and connect with us, and he's one of our most valuable volunteers. He recently won this award and was chuffed as anything. His daughter rang me up and said, "Thank you so much for nominating him. It's made a difference in his life." So again, that social prescription is not only for our consumers, our passengers, our companions, it's for our volunteers as well. It's doing something again with purpose. This thing here is another one of a quote back from the senior OT. It's about the sense of belonging. Now, this group that ride every week in Fremantle, it's become relationship building. So Susan Pinkster talked about it earlier, about that predictability. It's about making sure that we've got that same connection. they ride every week with each other. So it's got to the stage now, the nonna, the Italian grandma there, she brings down her biscotti biscuits so Tim can have that, and at Christmas time they all get a little gift, and I was lucky enough at their Christmas function to listen to them all playing the ukulele. So it becomes a sense of community building within a small program, and that has been the success of this. So this is where we now are escalating this and leading this on to other programs that we've got and other community groups. So others have heard about the success of this and said, well, how can we implement this and target particularly mental health care? Because we often talk about the physical health, but it's something that we need to get out there is talk about mental health as well. So we're talking about the freedom, the relaxation, and the positive effect on mental health. I just briefly want to tell you about this. These are two Catholic nuns. I know these beautiful ladies. Sister Esther here, who it was her birthday, we'd arranged a ride for her. She has dementia, advanced dementia, non-cognitive, for perhaps 6 months. I took both those lovely ladies out for a ride, and I knew Sister Esther loved dogs. And we happened to be on this ride. She was incoherent for most of the ride. Then one of my friends came past with a dog. We put the dog on Sister's lap. 2 sentences, fully cohesive. It was amazing. I just get goosebumps thinking about it already because it was just amazing. She hadn't been able to speak like that for 6 months. The other sister next to her just burst out crying, said, I haven't heard her speak like that for so long. Admittedly, by the time we got back to the care home, it was incoherent again. But just to see and witness that connection of neurons were just amazing. It was absolutely precious, very precious. This is another one that we have over in our Queensland chapters. So we have rail trail rides. So there are some infrastructure, and this is something I thought that perhaps to introduce you, you might want to look at different ideas, is these rail trails are places where it used to have railway lines. We don't use those anymore. What does the government do with this infrastructure? It's too much to remove it all, so what do? They're reinvigorating a lot of these rail trails now. They become beautiful community paths. They're flat places to ride. They're wide open areas. And this has been an absolute success. We've got so many chapters that are now forming around these rail trail rides. It has been a resounding success. So look how beautiful that is. They go around in nature. You're already out there in beautiful woodlands and places like that. It just truly is remarkable what they've got there. And that's just building on existing infrastructure that they've got. Because in Australia, we don't have the same privilege of beautiful bike paths necessarily like you have in other parts of the country. So I just want to reiterate here about that fun and freedom of being outdoors, being in nature. We know all of these things. We witness it ourselves as well. So I just thought I'd leave these thoughts with you. A few takeaway ideas, perhaps. One thing, too, is just connect with healthcare professionals. No matter, contact a hospital. Contact one of them about saying, how can I go and speak to somebody? How can I connect on a mental health issue? Speak to some clinicians. Go and speak to some geriatricians. Go and see some OT people. We've got a university study happening with Curtin University right now with a set of 3 OT students to work on to understand some of this stuff here. So don't be scared. Go and speak with the healthcare sector. Research any rail trail rides or somewhere that's particularly great in nature and make that your ride location. Make that something that's unique for your area as well. And the other thing is initiate a study on this, because I think mental health is an area that we all need to focus on as well. And it is something that is so positive and something that can make a big change in other people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. I think I love